I'm looking forward to this presentation. Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, so what we're doing our presentation on is Saraha, which is a anonymous messaging app. There have been other apps like it before, like Yik Yak, Secret, and Whisper. And a lot of the reason these apps didn't work is because of negative messages that were sent over the app that they just weren't able to keep under control. And they also couldn't build up meaningful communities because it was anonymous, so even though people were able to send messages, they weren't able to have meaning behind them because they didn't know who they were from or who they were sending them to, really. And I think something I saw connected to that source was that it said that like messages sent over the apps were either mean or meaningless. And so two of those apps, Secret and Yik Yak, have both shut down, mainly, definitely in part because of mean messages sent over there, but Whisper is actually still around, and a lot of the, in one of the articles I read about that, the reason was that they didn't go in with a ton of money to start, so they probably had more to handle things like the mean messages that were being sent and things like that that they ran into. Now, Saraha was made by Zain al-Abidin Tawfiq, and the intent was so that people in a business could give feedback to each other that would be unfiltered, because often there would be social barriers, whether it be age or hierarchy in the business or something like that, that would just probably keep people from sharing some of their thoughts and opinions on what another person did. So that was the intent of it. And then also that bottom thing I had there, the less risk due to lack of visual cues and nonverbals. That's just generally goes for social communication online in general, but even more so when it's anonymous, because that takes away even one more factor, because even though online you don't have nonverbal cues and such, taking away names and not even knowing who the person is takes away a factor which makes the communication even more impersonal. And so then he soon realized that others may want to use it for just exchanging messages over the web. And so it did spread pretty quick after he realized that, because he shared it with a friend who I could not find who it was, but he shared it with an influential friend, and it spread pretty quickly, and within a few weeks it became the top downloaded app on the App Store.
Okay, so all right. So I covered the communication within Saraha and also how it spread through social media. Now, the communication within Saraha, like Jonah said, was originally supposed to be constructive criticism, meaning that users and peers could go and leave messages that would not affect a person's self-image, but it was also more intended to bring up a person's self-image. Because if you've ever gone into something and you're like, did I do that right? Stuff like that. Somebody could leave you a comment, and then you can then assess what you did and see if you can make it better or not. And that was supposed to kind of help with self-image and stuff like that. And it also left the content level of meaning as Wood describes. And that means that there would be no misinterpretations, because you wouldn't have to sugarcoat anything. You could just leave what you meant, and that would be it. And since these anonymous messages could be easily turned into destructive instead of constructive, users had to agree to be over 17, because that was more, there was a lot more responsibility that went into these messages. But soon, children and those under 17 started to download and abuse the app, which is not what its intended purpose was. And they used it for more cyberbullying, which was they would leave hateful messages for other peers and students, and that would just tear others down and have bad conflicts with it. And due to the anonymous nature of the app, children sent emotionally loaded messages which were very hurtful and received no consequences for their actions because nobody knew who was doing it. Hence why it was such a problem. So the spread of Saraha was kind of, well, I'll get into it. So the reason it spread so quickly was due to the sharing of it on social media and the communities within social media. And like Jonah said, the influential friend, since he probably had so many followers and things like that, all his followers sent it, and it kind of webbed out like that. And so the main things that people used were Snapchat stories and Instagram bios, and what you can do, for those that don't know, is you can link it in your Snapchat story, and people can swipe up and click the link. And then that means anybody on your Snapchat, any of your friends, can leave you a message. And then in Instagram bios, if you don't know, anybody can see it. So anybody who even browses your page, whether it's public or private, can see your bio. And if you have the link into your Saraha, they can leave a message, whether you're friends with them, they're strangers, things like that. And so since more children are using mobile devices than ever before to access social networks, this made spreading things like this spread like wildfires. And Saraha was an unexpected trend. As Heather Leonard predicted, trends like these will look kind of similar to this. So these are trends that are expected. As you can see, there's a gradual rise because people talk about it more, and then it slowly falls back down once the event goes over. But unexpected, as this one is, it kind of just jumps up, and then people talk about it less and less and less. And so she predicted that unexpected and expected events will look like that on social media and trends like that. And with Google Trends, you are able to see that. So I searched in Saraha when I looked it up, and you can see, since it's such an unexpected, all of a sudden it shoots up. And this is when the app kind of became popular over summer. And then after summer, it kind of, or like through summer, it kind of was going to die down. And then August 27, 2017 is when school started to come back up. And so friends were sharing it more. And then after that, it all kind of died down, and it's kind of going out now because it was taken off of the App Store and the Google Play Store. So.
As Clay said, it kind of became a breeding ground for bullying. Fox News interviewed several people, and one girl by the name of June was interviewed, and she said that she had used Saraha several times before. She knew what it was, but some of the messages that she didn't want to share were either vulgar or too personal, because some of them were mean messages, some of them were nice messages, because as Clay said, you can link it into your Snapchat and Instagram, so if it's friends that you're super close to, they're probably going to leave a personal message, or if it's complete strangers or people that you go to school with and hate you for no reason, can send mean messages. Unfortunately, Saraha became such a problem for one particular teenager who was in Australia. She was a hat model. Her name is Dolly, or Amy Jane Everett. She had Saraha on her Snapchat, and someone swiped up and sent this comment. Dolly is such a blank. She makes everyone hurt, and I hope she kills herself. Seriously, no one would care. Days after she killed herself on January 1st of 2018, her mom found this message on her Snapchat going through her phone. She immediately posted this and said, "Why would someone put such a hurtful thing when my daughter had done nothing?" This one mom, who was in England, all the way across the world, saw this, and she knew her daughter had dealt with it too. So her daughter and her came up with these two hashtags: "Do it for Dolly" and "Speak even when your voice shakes." It became such a well-known thing that people started putting it on Twitter, Instagram, after they heard this story. Well, then Catherine Collins, the one who came up with those hashtags with her daughter, put this next to one of her petitions. 450,000 people signed that petition, so Google Play and the Apple Store would take it off, because Apple and Google have policies where they do not tolerate apps that cause abuse, are used for cyberbullying or anything. So they took down these apps so that way it would minimize the download, so that way they could stop the cyberbullying that had to do with Saraha. Amy was only 14, and one of the quotes her dad says, "People think that suicide is very weak. It's a way of escape, but only the strongest people, like my little angel, are the ones who actually go through with it to escape the evils of this world."
Got it? Alrighty, thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right.